So the Inspector of Interest is one of the main projects of Ciudad Inteligente. What it aims to do is unveil the potential conflicts of interest that may exist within Congress between the assets and interests that members of Congress have and their duty, they have, the legislative duties. We identified that members of Congress had a duty, because of freedom of information law, to disclose their assets and their interests. We actually went out and researched and gathered all the information, all the data about what the members of Congress said they had about their assets and about their interests. And we realized that it was not that complete. So that's when we tried to get other public data sources, open data, coming from sources like Tax and Revenue Service, from the Public Register, and so forth. And we basically built an alternative database with what public data told us about assets and interests related to members of Congress. We found that nearly 40% of members of Congress were not fully disclosing all the assets and the interests they had. The Inspector of Interest is a tool that aims to exercise online accountability. So from a user perspective, users can go online to the Inspector of Interest, inspectordeintereses.cl, and they will find basically two main boxes. They will find on the one side boxes or lists of members of Congress. When they click one of those, it will immediately filter the areas of interest, agriculture, building, banking, and so forth, that these members of Congress have. And when they click one of those areas, they will see if there is any kind of bill, because if they voted or because they're promoting a piece of legislation in which they may have a conflict of interest given the assets and the interests they have. Of course, because we have lots of more applications and all this data is crossed, we actually allow users to navigate and further do research to identify not only potential conflicts of interest, but actually actual conflicts of interest. What technology is doing here and what we're trying to do is basically easy the track about identifying potential conflicts of interest. But then it's the task of every user of the community. It is about not having just shiny apps and applications that are just fun and are impressive in terms of what they can do. These kind of tools, as any other tool in the open government or the governance space, is not complete unless it actually serves the policy purpose it was made for. So even if we can do this kind of thing, it is hugely important in the future that the use of the platform is much more massive, so that we can actually exercise, identify, again, conflict of interest, but then do the job that needs to be done later on, which sometimes may end in a change of legislation, in sanctions to those who are actually, in corruption activity. Because of some of the impact we have had already, there are many other countries that are trying to use this tool and implement it and deploy it in their own context. So we're looking forward to work with them. In some cases, we already are working with them so that the Inspector of Interest may serve other countries as well.